But we're going to begin with what's being called Climate Day over at the White House. President Joe Biden signed executive orders aimed at tackling climate change, calling it an existential threat to the planet. Our White House correspondent Karen Travers joins us now for more. Karen, so what's going on? What do these orders, the executive orders, do?
Yeah, this is executive action that follows big things that President Biden did as soon as he took office last week. Of course, rejoining the Paris Climate Accord and canceling that permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. So this is Climate Day here at the White House. But as you said, Joe Biden also framed this as Jobs Day, because they say this is not just about clean air and clean water, but this is also about creating jobs, good, clean energy jobs. It was a point that several officials today were really emphasizing. So just a couple bullet points on what these executive orders do that the president signed today. One is that it's going to freeze new oil and gas leasing on federal lands. That was something that Biden promised on the campaign trail. He's directing the federal government to purchase electric vehicles that the government would use in its massive fleet. He's looking to establish a civilian climate corps. That was something we heard today from John Kerry and from Gina McCarthy, who's going to be his domestic climate advisor. It's also going to set a goal of conserving at least 30% of the country's lands and oceans, directing federal agencies to look at the impact that the climate is having on disadvantaged communities, and would also put 40% of relevant federal investment towards those disadvantaged areas. So that is something that they say is so critical to address, because this is beyond just an environmental issue. This is a health issue. And we heard President Biden say today that for all of the talk about the COVID crisis, this is another health crisis, kind of a more quiet, long-lasting, long-term crisis that his administration says they have to tackle.
And the president putting right at the top of his agenda, as you mentioned, also the COVID-19 crisis. The White House response team on COVID-19 also gave their first public briefing today. Their predictions are pretty dire. They pointed to a shortage of vaccines out there, and they forecasted a death toll of over 500,000 total deaths in this pandemic by the end of next month. So what's their plan to fight this virus, get everyone vaccinated?
First, of course, the big thing that the administration wants is $1.9 trillion from Congress. That's a big ask, a very ambitious, very expensive, aggressive proposal that Joe Biden cannot just do with executive action. So a couple of things we heard today from the president's COVID-19 team is they're going to loosen the rules that go into who can give the vaccine, so that it will be more easily available to get people to distribute it, to actually give the shots in the arms. And they hope that that would sort of help with the backlog right now of appointments. We're hearing a kind of two-point message right now from the administration, Terry. We're hearing those dire predictions. We're hearing the talk about the really tough road ahead, and the fact that Americans who want a vaccine are not guaranteed that they're going to get one for the next couple of months. They're really pointing to summer, late spring as the best case timeline. But on the other hand, Terry, they're also talking about the optimism of the steps that the administration is taking to procure more supply. We heard the president yesterday say that the government was going to be buying 200 million more doses of that Pfizer and Moderna vaccine to get to 600 million total, and that would mean 300 million American adults could get vaccinated. But the big thing there, though, is still that's in the summer. That is not right now. And we're hearing a lot of grumbling from governors, state and local officials who say the supply issue is immediate. We need to deal with this week, next month. Great to know what's going to happen in the summer, but right now is the big crisis.
A huge challenge, no question about it. Karen Travers at the White House for us. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.